Good morning, everyone. I'm Councilwoman Monica Rodriguez, and I want to thank you all for joining us here this morning to celebrate what is incredible history in the making here in the city of Los Angeles. You know, in the 241 years that the city has existed, only 23 women have ever been elected to serve on the Los Angeles City Council. And so this year in 2022, to recognize that it took till 2022 to reach a record number of 6 women elected to the Los Angeles City Council, the first female city attorney, and of course, our first female mayor. It's quite an impactful and important story to tell, because it takes women going through tremendous lengths in order to not just run for office, but to actually break ceilings in so many industries across this country. But politics is no different. It is an environment that has historically been monopolized by male leadership that has often kept women at the sidelines. But now we have a compilation and an incredible tapestry of women leaders that are now going to help work together to help forge progress in this city, working together with expediency to address our biggest crisis that confronts us, including homelessness and public safety, but more importantly, that we know how to lean in on issues and do the work and work collaboratively. Because as it was said, as it was remarked yesterday, where there's women, there's a way. And you're looking at a group of women, and I know a couple of my colleagues were unable to join us this morning, but to make note of the women that have now assumed these roles, for me, it's incredibly important as the most senior female elected official in City Hall, which is remarkable to me that it only took me starting my second term for that to be the case, but that is in fact the case. And so working with these women, I know we are going to make tremendous progress in addressing some of the critical issues that are facing and confronting our city. But I want to first take note that this morning I am joined by Councilmember Traci Park, Councilmember Young-Yaroslavsky, and City Attorney. City Attorney Heidi Feldstein Soto. And so at this time, I'd like to invite our city attorney. I'm going to get used to that. I'm sorry. I don't know why. It's still too early. I'd like to invite our city attorney for some remarks.
Thank you. Good morning, and thank you all for being here. This is my first press conference, so I hope you will give me some space and some grace if I misspeak. I wanted to come here this morning y saludos a todos Los Ángeles, a toda comunidad latina que está viendo este programa, because I wanted to talk about how women lead. And this week has been about thinking about leadership and how we lead a little bit differently. I think that women lead starting with heart. We tend to walk in softly. We tend to try to learn about our surroundings. We don't assume that we can walk in and fix things. We try to collaborate and reach out to one another. And I think that's been true with not only the women who are here, but with Madam Mayor and with the other city council members that couldn't make it this morning. I'm glad that Councilmember Rodriguez said that she's the most senior member as opposed to the oldest member, because Madam Mayor and I are both the oldest members currently at City Hall. I would like to say that this is an inflection point for our city, not only in terms of the female leadership that is coming into office, but also in terms of our commitment to the city as a whole and to all of our colleagues at City Hall, male and female. We will be working together, and we will be putting together a plan to address the most pressing issues in the city. Madam Mayor has already announced her plan for that office, and I think all of us are committed to helping her and helping one another get through this time. I want to thank you for being here. Muchísimas gracias. A todos Los Ángeles se lo agradezco muchísimo. And I want to wish you all Godspeed and a great day.
Thank you so much, Heidi. And it is now my pleasure to introduce the councilwoman for the 5th District, who is no stranger to governance. She, in fact, has had a long history of helping to be a change agent at the county level long before she endeavored to run for city council. And that's my colleague, Councilwoman Katy Young-Yaroslavsky.
Good morning, everyone. This is also my first press conference. So when I started to run for city council nearly 3 years ago, there were only 2 women out of 15 on this body. And when I told people that fact, it blew their minds. They couldn't believe that in one of the most progressive cities in the country, 2 out of 15 were comprised of women. And here we are, thrilled to be acknowledging and celebrating the first woman of our great city, our first woman city attorney, and now we have six women on the city council, more than at any time. But last time I checked, 6 out of 15 isn't even a majority, so we're clearly not done yet. So why does representation matter? It matters not only for its own sake, but because of the perspectives and experiences we bring to tables where decisions are being made. Because she who holds the pen holds the power. And for too long, women didn't hold pens. We weren't even in the rooms where it happened. And our policies tangibly suffered from this lack of representation, and they continue to suffer from this lack of representation. Or if we were in the room, it was because we were there to take notes or serve coffee. It wasn't because anyone cared what we thought or what women wanted or needed, even though we were almost always the ones managing the complexities of balancing family and work and school and meals and laundry and everything else. So whether it's paid leave or free childcare in preschool or decent after-school options or equal pay for equal work, women and our families bear the brunt of the poor policy decisions that have up until now been accepted as reality. I have 3 young kids. They're 7, 4, and 2. And you'd better believe that all of the issues I just mentioned are top of mind for me because they make it that much harder to live and thrive in Los Angeles. And I ran for office because I wanted to make it easier to live here. It's government's job to make things easier, and that's what we're going to do together. We're going to be focused on getting things done and not being distracted by sideshows. There's a lot of work to do, and I welcome anyone who wants to focus on the work, because that's what I'm here for. There are too many families suffering, too many people who need help, and too much to do. Thanks for being here. I'm looking forward to getting to know each of you and working with all of you.
Thank you, Katy. And as she indicated, you know, there has been a lot of pigeonholing for women that has existed for centuries. The expectation that women are only allowed to serve in certain roles. We are going to change that dynamic together, and I'm really looking forward to our working together with one another. And so it brings me great pleasure to now introduce the council member for the 11th district, who's also had a longstanding history of service in her own right as an attorney and as an activist for her community. And it's been a wonderful pleasure getting to know and work with her preceding her official start date of today, and that's Councilwoman Traci Park.
Well, thank you very much. This is also my first press conference, so it's an honor to be here. I am honored to be part of new city leadership that includes an historic number of strong women. We all come from different backgrounds and experiences, and collectively, we span a large ideological spectrum. And while we are not a perfect representation of the diversity of women in our great city, I believe we are a very good start. I am honored to be standing here this morning with these dedicated women who were chosen by voters in our city. I look forward to working with them, and I am committed to investing in all of the women in our communities. I am here to represent all of the women in my district and our entire city. We desperately need change that can only happen when we invest in women. I will look forward to working with my new colleagues to prioritize policies that reflect the fundamental roles that women play in our city, in our families, and in our workplaces, and in local leadership. From closing the gender wage gap to addressing more flexible work schedules, child care supplements, paid family leaves, insurance exclusions for essential health care, and investing in women's businesses, to addressing violence against women, keeping women safe on public transit, and prioritizing targeted infrastructure like safe streets, sidewalks, and lighting to keep women, moms, and families safe. These are some of the issues that I look forward to working closely with these women on. We all hope to inspire women to take an active role in leading and participating as we move our great city forward. Thank you so much for having me today, and thank you for organizing this.
Thank you, Traci. And again, while all of the issues that we talked about are incredibly important, we saw through the course of the pandemic how the pandemic set women back professionally by generations. The traditional roles that women play as head of household has limited their ability for upward mobility in their own profession. But that changes today. With the leadership that is comprised of this City Council, we're going to continue to advance progress to help make sure that women are uplifted, that we regain so much of what we lost through the course of the pandemic. But more importantly, as we reflect on the roles of women in non-traditional roles, and I say this as the first woman of color appointed chair of public safety in our city, that we have the ability to talk about a lot more than just childcare. We have the ability and the tenacity to do the work that our city is requiring and calling on us to do. And so don't pigeonhole us, folks. We're here to do a lot of work. It's going to cross a lot of sectionality. It'll have a cross-section of issues that we will embark upon when it comes to issues of land use, when it comes to issues of transportation. These are women that are all capable, and I promise you, we are going to get it all done. And so with that, I do want to offer some words in Spanish. Buenos días a todos por estar aquí con nosotros. Como la mujer con más servicio en el Ayuntamiento de Los Ángeles, es un honor estar aquí esta mañana. La política históricamente ha estado dominado por los hombres, pero hoy estamos celebrando el número récord de mujeres que van a servir en el Concilio de Los Ángeles. 2022 fue un gran año para las mujeres de nuestra ciudad y de todo el país. Por primera vez en la historia de Los Ángeles, la gente eligió a una mujer para ser nuestra alcaldesa, una mujer para ser nuestra abogada, sí, gracias, general, y un número récord de 6 mujeres para servir a concejales. Hoy es un día histórico. Tengo fe en que va a hacer una gran diferencia aquí en la ciudad de Los Ángeles. Muchísimas gracias. And with that, we are available to answer any questions that you might have.
You know, the mayor is going to declare, or wants to declare, the homelessness a state of emergency. And with all of you new, also she's new, how can you, even the city attorney, put that together to make it work for her and for the city? Because it's your city too, all your districts, all your areas. That maybe I can just start with you. Just if you can, any one of you, just how can you work with the mayor to make it work?
Maybe the city attorney could give us some legal.
Since the charter requires that the mayor consult with the city attorney before the declaration, let me assure you that the mayor has consulted with me and that we are hand in glove on this. I will be leaving this press conference to go over to the emergency declaration press conference. I will not otherwise speak for the mayor, but I do believe that she has reached out across the board and that we are all committed to doing what it takes to make this work.
Can you tell us what it legally means?
Under the city charter, it says that the mayor may, in consultation and upon notice to the city attorney, declare a state of emergency. So it is the case that the mayor has consulted with me and called me early this morning and gave me notice that she was in fact declaring it this morning, and we've had that conversation. I'm not getting into the details of consultation. I'm a lawyer, and so I'm bound by the attorney-client privilege.
For those of you who are on the council,
Attorney-client privilege, but if you could offer some details, what power under an emergency declaration does the mayor have?
I'm sorry, I'm going to leave that to the mayor's press conference. This was really about the number of women here, and I'm not prepared to address it in this context. I'm terribly sorry. I do think it's the mayor's prerogative to declare her state of emergency, and I'm not going to step on that toe.
but for those of you who are on the city council, you're going to be asked to vote tomorrow. Are you going to vote for it? What kind of powers are you agreeing to give up? And what locations have you provided her as sort of the most quote-unquote challenging encampments that she wants to hop on and do?
I think you're asking questions. You're putting the cart before the horse. We haven't had that announcement with the details in order for us to have that conversation, Dave. So when we are availed those details, we will. You're happy to ask us at that time.
Can you guys weigh in? There's speculation Kevin DeLeon will come back tomorrow for the council members. Do you plan to walk out if he comes into the council chambers and attends the meeting, and why or why not?
I plan to continue to do the work for the people that elected me and for the oath that I took, and so I will be here prepared to do work as I do each and every day, and that's the job I signed up for.
And the other two council members?
Same.
You intend to stay if he comes, is what you're saying?
Yeah,
To do the work.
And how come?
because this is my first city council meeting. I was elected to do the work of the city council, and there's a lot of city business to
Can you
do.
step up to the mic?
There's a lot of city business to do, and we can't keep putting it off forever, so that's what I'm here for.
Going off of that, jumping.
Councilwoman Park, could we hear your comments on that?
Sure. We have a tremendous amount of work to do to move our communities and our city forward. I think that the positions been made perfectly clear by all of us about how we feel with respect to Councilmember DeLeon and his role on the council, but we have got to move the work forward.
Are you worried about your safety?
Yes, actually. Thank you for asking. Unfortunately, what we have seen with some of the rhetoric and the behavior from a small minority of constituents in the population here in our city is alarming. And I have personally been subjected to some of those attacks and behavior, and I do worry about my safety as I worry about the safety of my colleagues here at the city.
To be clear, your safety inside the council room? I wasn't clear about that.
Not so much inside the council room as out in the community. Yeah.
Given the fact you've said this, are you thinking at this point of asking input to detail people here?
So at this point, I am confident that LAPD security is going to do an adequate job keeping me safe. We're doing security assessments, and I'll look at individual events and issues on a case-by-case basis.
I think, and just to add to it, it was last year that I, on my own home, was encircled in my driveway by individuals that were protesting, trapping my husband and I in our vehicle, unable to leave. And so this goes beyond activism. These are efforts that are intended to intimidate and threaten, and it's unacceptable. It's not activism, and it exposes our families to tremendous risk. It's unfortunate that the circumstances have devolved into this kind of environment, but my hat's off to the men and women of the Los Angeles Police Department who have done an outstanding job to help maintain decorum in the council chambers for the events that have preceded even whatever might ensue tomorrow.
Is there a link between the online threats and the real life violence and the online cheers and toxic nature of what's going on Twitter from some of the things?
I mean, I don't know who these individuals are, but there's certainly there's been a behavior to condone or rationalize these activities, and I don't think it's appropriate. I think it's unsafe, and I think it's terrible. Sets a terrible precedent. I've had the privilege of meeting and knowing activists like John Lewis, like Dolores Huerta. They didn't engage in activism of this type, so I don't know what this is. But this is intended to ignite fear and intimidate, and it's undemocratic, and it's just irrational. in my opinion.
Does the Board of Supervisors had a lot of problems with the sheriff in the past, and you got a new sheriff, you got a new city council, you got, the Board of Supervisors. That gives you a chance to work with the new sheriff as well. Is that a difference there?
As chair of public safety, I have enjoyed a really wonderful relationship early on with Chief Luna, and look forward to. I know our chief of police and the sheriff will be working very closely with one another, and yes, we will always look forward to the collaboration that we can offer between agencies.
A question to the two new council members.
Yeah, you got it.
Well, both of
So
you
sorry,
said-
gentlemen, thank you so much for being here.
Both of you said
ladies,
you're looking at a
I
broad
apologize.
spectrum of issues. One of the things relates to the idea of the city budget. It's so long since it's actually had an overhaul. By overhaul, I mean, you look at everything we're doing and say, why are we doing it the way we're doing it? My time in covering City Hall, I've seen the budget of the city of Los Angeles go from $900 million to $10 billion. But you cannot tell me that the population of LA is 20 million. It's not 4. Do you plan to take a hard look at what really has been happening with the spending patterns in the city and ask, why are we spending money in certain ways?
Part of why we're here is to undertake critical thinking of everything, and I think everything needs to be looked at with fresh eyes. Yeah.
Okay, and with that, do you want to answer?
Sure. I am very much motivated and driven by responsible and accountable spending. And yes, I will be taking a very critical eye to where the city's funds are going and ensuring that we're making wise and appropriate investments that get us returns.
And with that, thank you very much for being here.